Hey, okay, so here we are, Friday again. How does that happen? The last video I did was on Friday. I'm like, oh my gosh, have I let a whole entire week go by and we didn't talk on video? Sorry. Okay, but it's been a huge week of creation. So I hope that you're finding that. Like those of you that have been in the studio, we've been able to talk about practicing. Practice. And so those of you that haven't been in the studio, for whatever reason, maybe you're out of town, maybe you've been sick, maybe you've had a funeral, because I know some of you have. Whatever the reason, here's a recap. The recap is that you are practicing to bring your A game for life. So there's not one of you involved with Living Fired Up or Fitness Level 10 that doesn't recognize your value. You're like, wow, there's something else calling to me, especially at this point in our lives. Like there's something magical about 40. 40, we start to go, okay, all right, I don't have the same mentality as I did when I was 20 that I was like, I got my whole life in front of me. Yeah, I got time. At 40, we start to go, wait a second, I'm getting close to halfway in my life. What else do I want? Because we've had enough time to experience. Like we have experienced a lot of things that we know now that we don't want. So then it's like, well, what do I want? And that's when you start to go, okay, I need to know the what, I need to know the how, but most of all, you need to know the why. Why do I want those things? Why? What's going to keep me focused? What's going to keep me driving towards that? Let me tell you, we all have to take that journey. I'm sorry. I wish I could tell you each individually your why. I do know what it is, and I know what drives us all, but we're going to cover that on the coaching call today. We're going to cover that on the live coaching call at noon today, so tune in, because guess what? You all have something very special, because there's something deep inside calling to you. You know you can do better for yourself. You know that there is a non-negotiable element, and you've hit it. You've all hit it. Like you're all like, I don't want to go below that mark anymore. See, the thing about having a standard for yourself is it doesn't move. A standard, like a basketball standard is at one height, and it's at the same height for the short guys and the tall guys. And that standard doesn't move. And every time each of us have hit some place in our lives, like a relationship, a career, our personal responsibilities, our bodies, even like the standard of what we'll spend money on, is food too expensive? I want to go see this concert, but I wouldn't spend money on a card show. Like we're always figuring, making decisions in our life based on our standards, our personal preferences, our psychological sensitivities, and our metabolic expression. So if that is the case, then there's something driving you, because every time you hit a spot that's just substandard, you're like, that's not okay. There's something else in me. That's what Living Fired Up is. It's who I am, it's what I do, it's how I live. And so that's your standard. But all of us know that living substandard just isn't enough. And we know that we have the potential and the ability. We were born limitless. We only learned limitations. And limitlessness, sorry, I had to listen to myself again, has that potential to be a slam dunk every time. Does that make sense? Like the standard's not so high that we couldn't reach the basket and slam dunk it every time. But what does it require to slam dunk it every time? Practice. Practice. That is the element that's missing in the dieting world. They're not practicing anything. They're just surviving. They're counting how many times, how many days they can go without eating cake, how many days they can go to the gym in a row before they quit. There's no change. There's nothing that's tapping into your why. Nothing. It's just survival. Is that having more fun? Because at fitness level 10, all we've ever said is that you're trying to seamlessly infuse your fat loss lifestyle in with your intentions to live happy and have more fun. You want to have more fun, and it's not fun to survive. That's your fight or flight. That's your fight or flight mechanism, and you never get into rest and digest, which is where fun and creativity lie. So, if we're actually going to have this conversation at noon today, I want you to bring your A game. And your A game is opening your mind to a new plan. Opening your mind to all possibilities. I will never forget the day I had somebody tell me there's a lot of unhappy people in the world. I can live unhappy too. That was not her true limitless self speaking. That was her conditioning to believe that she was just never going to measure up, because her standard, the standard she was given was, you'll never slam dunk this, never. Oh my gosh, because her standard was actually at the top of the stadium. Can you slam dunk from the floor to the top of the stadium? No. No, you got to have a standard that is measurable. You got to have a standard that makes sense. Like if we think it's all in or nothing, you're a dieter. That's it. You've got a dieting mindset because it limits you. You didn't change. You didn't learn anything. You didn't know that through practice you could actually slam dunk it every time. You didn't know that. But maybe you haven't been taught that. So maybe it's time to learn what we already know is in us, that we have the potential to slam dunk our standards. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about slam dunking. Woo! Tammy! So good, so good. I can't wait to see you at noon. This is going to be so exciting because guess what? We cannot do this without a little coaching because you can't see yourself. You cannot see yourself. I can't see me, so I have coaches. I have coaches that are elevating me. They take me out onto the playing field, out onto the basketball floor, whatever, out onto the playing field of life so I can slam dunk this sucker. Because I want to. I want to take the ball and run it to the end zone. I want to hit the ball out of the park and make a home run. I want to access the greatness that is in me. And that's what we're doing here. That's what we're doing together. This is the work that we're doing together, but you can't do it unless somebody else gives you the perspective to see yourself in a different light, to give you better ideas, new ideas. We got to do this together. Nobody does this alone. Every successful person in the world has a coach because we are athletes. We train like athletes, we think like athletes, and we win like athletes because we're willing to practice. You've never, ever, ever seen a touchdown by accident. You've never seen a home run hit out of the park by accident. You have never seen a short guy make a slam dunk on the court by accident. What you're seeing when they have a moment that makes you stand up out of the stadiums and throw your arms in the air for the win is the result of practice. That's what we've been talking about in the studio this week. That's what we've been having conversations about, is the win. It's the win. Thank you, Teresa. I love you for being in your bunny slippers today. Thank you. Your bunny slippers give you the opportunity to practice making your slam dunks. I'm so proud of you. You guys, see, this is the thing. This is the thing that everything we do, we're like, oh, I didn't make my workout today. But why didn't you make your workout? It was not lack of thought. I guarantee it. It's because you were needing to practice another area of your life. You are needing to practice taking rest. If we don't feel well, we must take our rest. There is no guilt. None. Because guilt is just you in the locker room not entering the field to play your game. If you're like, you're taking your rest, you got to have your rest. That's the locker room pep talk. But when it's like, you know, 3, fired up on 3, 1, 2, 3, fired up, and everybody leaves the locker room but you, yeah, that's different. That's totally different. That's when you're not showing up for your workout because you're afraid. You're afraid that you actually might make the slam dunk. That's very different. And if we are afraid to make a slam dunk, we got to just make one so we can experience it and go, well, that was pretty fun. That was actually more exciting than it was scary to get out on the court and play in front of all those people. We cannot hold ourselves back. We cannot bring it back to a place of fear. If we are fearful, we are stuck. And that is unacceptable to every one of you, because you know that's not you. That is not you. You're not the dieter that's stuck in the crazy 8. Diet, binge, diet, binge. That's not you. And that's why it was driving you nuts. You didn't want to play the same game over and over and over. You wanted to move on to the next game and learn what you needed to learn. That's what happens on a team, right? You practice, you get the coaching, you're in the locker room, you're fired up on 3, 1, 2, 3, fired up. You're out on the floor and you discover what the other team brought as their A game. And maybe you win and maybe you lose, but either way you learn more about what you just practiced so you can practice even better. So you can move on to the next game. We don't want to go back and play the same team over and over because we'll learn their ways and then we're stuck again. You want more experience. You want more opportunity, because then you learn on a higher level more of what not to do so you can do more of what works. So you're a winner and you're finding your wins come more consecutively and more consistently. And you're like, wow, nailed it. And then you're like even more willing to get out there and practice and practice. And that's what life opportunities are. As soon as you become competent, your soul, your spirit needs a little more. You're like, something else, bring it, I got this. And then you become incompetent. And it's like a little bit scary, but you're like, okay, I'm bringing my courage. That's your A game. Your courage is your A game. And then you're like, wow, I'm going to the next level, doing something I've never done before. And then you become competent at it because you're doing it. That's what babies do. They're rock stars. They never crawled before. They showed up in the world all blobby and wiggly and squishy and fun and cute. They never smiled before, and then suddenly they smile, and then they do it often because it's fun, and then they roll over, and then they get woo from mom and dad, and they roll over some more. Like they go from incompetent to competent. Now they're up on their hands and knees and they're rocking back and forth and they try and take a step. They fall on their little bellies and they look up at you for a reaction. You're like, woo! They're like, okay, all right, I'm on the right track. I'm going to practice. They get up on their hands and knees again. They rock back and forth. They look up at you for a reaction. You're just like, yeah, baby! And then they take a step and they're crawling across the floor and they're like, whoa, look, I'm reaching everything that's out in front of me. I'm grabbing it. I'm going. I'm tasting it. I'm feeling it. I'm experiencing it. And you're like, yes! That's you. You're the baby. And babies don't actually know that they're incompetent and that they're working towards more competence? They don't know that. So they suffer by comparison a lot less than those of us that are aware, because we've had more experience in life, that, wow, okay, I'm really uncomfortable in this position in my life. I'm a new mom. I'm a new grandma. Like, I just changed jobs. I just changed careers, right? If you're thinking, oh my gosh, what else is in me? Because you've been practicing being the best you possible. Yeah. There's no stopping you, no matter what. You are limitless because you're willing to be uncomfortable until you get comfortable. You're willing to be incompetent until you become competent. But you're willing to practice so you can experience the wins. I'm telling you what? Yes. Yes, all day. Experience, experience, experience. If you practice and you're like, wow, that was sort of a fail, like that didn't come out like I expected it to. Now you know. You didn't know that before. You didn't have that experience before, but now you do. Now you do. You just went from crawling to walking. That's what that is. That's you going, oh, that's what works and what doesn't work. And that's when you like grow. Like, you are only in this for personal growth. That's it. You are in it for personal growth, because guess what? Personal growth allows you to leave your legacy. You are now more clear on the contribution you want to make in life. You are here to make your contribution. You are here to build your legacy. And guess what? The world needs your A game. The world cannot live without your A game. Because if you don't bring your A game, others will not know what's possible for them too. That's how we know we can make a slam dunk, because somebody did it before us. And we look at their patterns. What did they do to make the slam dunk? They practiced. They got out there and put time into learning more about how to slam dunk. Jerry Rice gets on the field on practice day. He's not just jogging it out and taking it cash. No, 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 no. He made a promise to himself that when the pigskin hit his hands, he would make sure it ended up in the end zone. He didn't just toss it back to the coach and head back to the back of the line. No, no, no. He's like, in my hands, in the end zone. In my hands, in the end zone. That is the promise that you made to yourself when you showed up at Living Fired Up or Fitness Level 10. And you're like, I don't like who I am right now, but I want to end up in the end zone. And I'm like, let's go. Okay, we're going to the end zone, because that's where fun and creativity lie. Practice, 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 get in the end zone. Practice, 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 make the slam dunk. Nobody ran a 4-minute mile until somebody showed them it was possible. And then everybody ran a 4-minute mile. We only do what we believe is possible within us with somebody that shows us it's possible. You're working with somebody who did what you said you wanted to do also. I practiced understanding who I was and what I was capable of doing. And I am not done by a long stretch, but I'm telling you that everything that's in me is also in you. Fit is already happening. We all have a heartbeat. We all have oxygen. We all have the ability to create new red blood cells every 60 seconds, 100 million of them. Yeah. So you have fitness in you. It is our behaviors and our beliefs that are causing us to hang out in the locker room when the rest of the team left to go to the field to win. So we don't want to hang out in the locker room, because all you can do is hear the winning. We all want to participate in the win. Even if we're on the sidelines for a minute and have an injury, we had a setback. Even if we're on the sidelines for a minute, we're still part of the team. We're still watching greatness happen until we can get on the field again and go. I know some of you have had weddings. Even Kendra just said she didn't make her workout this morning because her wedding hangover is catching up to her. Yeah. But you're not out of the game. You're on the sidelines just for a second, supporting the team, learning what you need to know, watching the plays. You're still learning. You're learning more about what works for you at this time in your life. Because it's the first time you've ever been you today. This is a new you. This is a new you post-wedding. I know that there's other people on here that have pending weddings, and they are all in planning for those weddings, and that takes a lot out of you. But you got to learn how to practice living you, taking care of you, while you're taking care of the rest of your life, while your life happens for you. That's what living fired up is. It's who you are, it's what you do, and it's how you live. So 20 minutes later, on my short video post preempting the live call today, we're going to be talking about your why. Why do you keep getting up? Why do you show up for practice? Why are you in the locker room with your head huddled together with your team? Why? It's coming. It's coming. Here we go. See you on the live coaching call today. Love you guys. Living fired up. Here we go.